Now this is my favorite race on the program. You have the Aussie pair, which is a real fair dinkum pair. They have 2 silver medals each from 2 different Olympics in the Aussie straight 4. And the Hungarian boat have been rowing together as a pair since 2009.
Adrian Juhàsz and Bela Simon. That's the Hungarian pair. There they are.
So you have the intense internal experience of rowing a pair together for 8 years. And the Aussies at different end of the boat shed row in Melbourne, Australia, with Mercantile Boat Club, the mecca of world rowing there, with the home of the Awesome Foursome, and Melbourne University, combining probably for the first time.
The Hungarians came 9th in the men's pair event at the Olympic Games in Rio last summer. They won gold at the 2016 European Championships. Lots of experience here.
Now the Mercantile pair has taken, this is their off year. They're training together but not part of the national squad. And it appears the Hungarians have a similar race plan because they won the Euro champs last year, and this year they came in 9th. So they might be cutting back their training a bit this year. So it'll be interesting.
When I see that you are both straight
having
and
won
ready,
down to 9th, although the competition, I guess, was more fierce at the European Championships this time round.
Attention.
I wasn't there.
Go.
I was.
Get ready, please.
In Prague a month ago. Not a particularly good regatta for Great Britain.
Go.
Off they go then in the Silver Goblets and Nickalls Challenge Cup. This is the semi-finals. Dunkley-Smith and Booth of Australia to the left of your picture, off the Berkshire station, and off the Buck station it's Simon and Juhàsz of Hungary. They're both coming very close together.
Now they're moving apart.
Umpire kept his nerve, no flag waving required.
I would expect a very good start from the Hungarians, having rowed together for 8 years, but they weren't able to take advantage of that. Looks like the Aussies have an early lead.
And it is quite a boat, isn't it? The pairing of Dunkley-Smith and Booth, both of whom are in that men's 4 that won silver behind Great Britain in Rio last summer. And now here they are working in a pair.
I mean, they're big boys. They have 2 stone over the Hungarians.
And they may have reduced their training, but they, so far we've seen them on the water this week at Henley, and they've looked on top form.
Now, I mean, we can say they reduced their training, maybe on the water time, but Josh Dunkley-Smith set a new personal erg record for himself of, I think, 5:41 earlier this winter.
Yeah, I don't think they're shirking the gym sessions.
No.
But perhaps not as publicly out there on the water.
Well, it looks like they've had a bit of the feed bag on too. They've put on a few pounds since Rio, but fair enough, they're allowed to. Now they just have to continue to press ahead and stay away from the booms. Hungarians not conceding a single centimeter here, keeping it revved up.
So we've already seen the French, the Onfroy brothers, move into this final. It's who will be up against them. Dunkley-Smith and Booth look by far the most likely at this stage, don't they? The Australians are likely to go against the French tomorrow in the finals.
Mercantile had a bit of a dicey start yesterday. I assume they were working on that yesterday afternoon when the racing was over, because they had a very good start this morning.
The French cockless pair of the Onfroy brothers.
They're drifting a bit on their steering.
Waiting and watching this race, no doubt. And yes, you're right about the steering.
Someone to steer somewhat back to the port side. Stroke side, as you would say.
And the Australians will just be monitoring all this and banking the information and thinking, well, it's going our way so far.
So far, but again, in the finals, we assume their competitors will be a little bit faster. You don't want to have steering problems tomorrow. You want to straighten that out now. and feel yourself closer to the booms.
Well, I think having you and I saw the French a few races back booking their place in the final, I think we can guarantee they'll be a bit quicker. They look good, didn't they?
Yes. Now, Mr. Booth, the stroke of the Mercantile Melbourne Uni boat, has one more year to be a doctor. And he's from Scotch College, who also has their 8 in the semifinal of the PE later this morning. In fact, he's relatively well thought of at Scotch. He made the 150-year first boat. And very smooth work here out of the Melbourne pair.
Dunkley-Smith, who's back, you can see there in the bow seat of the Australian boat. Bit of a family affair going on. His sister Addie is also competing this year in the women's 4, and his mother's a former Australian sailor as well, so a very sporting family.
Yes, she was racing in Barcelona, so you could say that Josh went to his first Olympics as a 5-year-old with his mother in Barcelona.
So there you can see Dunkley-Smith and Booth, the two Joshes from Australia. They've seized this race by the scruff of the neck.
And Bill Tate, formerly of Mercantile, is their coach. He's now the Victorian Institute of Sport head coach, a legendary coach on the Yarra River in Melbourne. Now they've stretched it out to about a 2-length open advantage.
Yeah, we talked about the tight bond between these two Hungarian rowers. Well, it's going to take something special for them to break the Australians, isn't it? There's a lot of water between them and the Australians. Perhaps anticipating a tighter race than we've been served up here.
I was expecting a tighter race, but the Hungarians have been on the circuit for so long, it might get tiring. Now, personally, I can't understand how you could row with your brother that many years.
It's a lot of years, isn't that?
8. But they're still rowing well. That's a great shot right there. Boat is level.
Bella Simon in the bow seat. 28-year-old, 91 kilos.
Now the Aussies are just stretching it out, relaxing.
In front of the grandstands, another big performance from Dunkley-Smith and Booth. There they are, looking pretty relaxed. I think they know this is in the bag, barring a disaster.
There's some big boys, those two. The only one bigger, I think, is their coach. Bill Tate would be... He could easily fit in with those two monsters.
Not far to go now. In front of the grandstands, Silver Goblets and Nickalls Challenge Cup. And the Onfroy brothers from France await the Australians. Unless the Hungarians, there in the green and red, can do something sensational. They're coming a bit close together again. The steering is an issue. The Hungarians have fought with the steering, haven't they?
Yes, they have in the second half, but they've been fighting all over. When you're behind, you have to try everything, and sometimes steering misses out. Wonderful row here as they go by the stewards.
Joshua Dunkley-Smith and Joshua Booth booking their place in the final of the Silver Goblets and Nickalls Challenge Cup. They'll take on the French brothers, the Onfroys, who we saw impressively beat the Italians earlier on, Lodo and Vicino. Over the line they come, the Australians, safely into the final. The Hungarians just a little bit disappointing. Simon and Juhàsz never really caused Dunkley-Smith and Booth any discomfort, never really got it into the race.
Well, they look tired now, so they weren't waltzing, that's for sure. But the Hungarians stayed in the entire way. They never stopped racing hard. But you can see the power of the Australians just moving away from the start.
There was never any jeopardy or doubt, though, was there? I think the Hungarians sort of wanted a bit more chaos to that race.
Well, you know, that Aussie boat has weighed it down pretty heavy with 4 Olympic silver medals. I'm surprised they haven't sunk it so heavy in there.
Showing their pedigree, and the Hungarian there Adrian Juhàsz showing his pain.